You know, one of the things I think space aliens get right is the amount of lights all over the outside of their spaceships. They have ways to communicate with them. They have the ways to see, I guess. And honestly, I kind of want the Sprinter van, the battle wagon, to be sort of like that. And that's why I partnered with my friends at Strands. You guys saw the unboxing video, and today starts the install process for those lights. And how are we going to control those lights? By using something called the 4x4 sPod, particularly the Bantam X with a little touch screen, and it's gonna be rad. Here we go. Okay, so to mount the sPod sort of control unit, what are we doing here? We're looking at, we obviously have the driver's seat out.
Yeah.
What's the plan here?
We're going to pull off the cover for the electronics.
So there you go. For those that don't know what's actually under the driver's seat in these, it's sort of a rat's nest a little bit.
So generally speaking, we always end up putting them on this back wall because you got plenty of room. Plenty of room for your wires to come in as well.
So you put them in here because this is sort of tucked away. I know on some vehicles they put them up under the hood. Why like in this spot on a Sprinter? Why do you pick that one?
It's dry. It's inside. I mean, they are water resistant to a degree, but they're not waterproof.
Right, and why not put it in a spot where it'll stay dry?
Yeah.
Right.
They're expensive. Who wants to buy it again for getting it wet?
Yeah. All right, cool. So what are you about to do here?
This is the template. Comes in the kit. We're just going to place it on the outside and make sure we're good on the inside, which we, generally speaking, we are because we have a nice recessed
So we're just trying to make sure we're clear.
And you got plenty of room that we're not going to be into this. So I might actually favor that over just a touch. We're going to tape up the template and then drill our holes and get mounted.
Cool. All right, so one of the things that is something we want to avoid is more loose cabling, right, Pat?
Yeah, I'm going to try and keep it tidy. That way, stitch this together behind it so it fits nice.
Right, and thankfully we have the standoffs on the back of the controller unit to kind of give it that space for that cabling to go through there. And, you know, we did drill the holes from this side, but that unit is actually going to go inside here.
Correct.
And then we'll loop the cables around.
Yes. 2 out of 4. Not too bad.
Doing good.
3 out of 4.
I keep telling you, that's why they pay you the big bucks around here. Next, we had to figure out where to mount the sPod screen, the part that controls all the lights and stuff, here in the cab. And a lot of people like to put it sort of here. They suction cup to the windshield with the protective film on there. I didn't want it there. There's some companies that have a bar that go up here and, you know, it sits up a little high. It starts to block the windshield. I wasn't a big fan of that either. And then I talked about maybe mounting it up in here. But the problem is when I'm driving, I'm looking here and then I've got to lean back and look up to be able to access that. That's not ideal. So what we did was mount it here. All right, so what do we have here?
We got a ram mount set up. We had to shave the ends down a little bit, see if we can get it to sneak down this pocket and do a little something we haven't done before.
So this is something that nobody has really tried in this shop, at least.
Yeah. So trying to get it in a different location so you don't have a suction cup on your windshield.
And one of the challenges we ran into is that right here is a cable coming out to connect this to the control unit itself. Like, this is just a screen to do the interaction. So we need clearance for that, which is why we have to have this sort of standoff between here and here to clear for that cable. All right, guys, we've got the Strands Red Fox side shooters. Pat, do you want to open the hood for me, brother? And we are starting the journey of trying to get these wired up. So if you want to join us over here, you want to take a little walk over here. So we have a lot of wires coming out of there, Pat.
A lot of functions. These are new to our shop, but at any rate, you obviously have your ground on your black. Your red's going to be your main power light, and then you had 3 other options on these lights, which I believe the yellow would be your amber position light. This is a red light on the gray wire, and then you have an emergency flasher on your green.
So not only with these, we've talked about these in the unboxing video, but we've got the ability to do a flasher, a red, and an amber position, and of course turn the white LEDs on. This is pretty cool. We're gonna cook up some kind of wiring solution. These are, as far as I know, nobody else in the US has these, especially on a Sprinter, let alone any vehicle.
Oh yeah, I don't think they have any US representation. I've never seen them.
Right. So we're going to get these wired up. We're just going to keep going and start working on the harness to get it tied into the sPod. It's going to be rad.
Indeed.
And with that, the ditch lights are in. And boys and girls, we got a lot more work to do. As you can tell, the bumper lights are not quite on yet. We're getting to it. Here we go. Oh yeah, that's good. Look at that. Pat, it looks good, dude.
It does.
It looks good. What do you think, man?
I like how slim they are. They're pretty well tucked. They're not hanging out.
You can see there's so much breathing room behind these lights.
And they don't hang out real far either, so it looks good. Most of the time you see a big old light bar, it's honking, hanging out there, and looks terrible.
Yeah, it looks kind of silly. It looks kind of silly. So, we went through quite a bit to get this, I should say, you went through a ton of stuff to get this done. How did we get to where this ended up?
Well, I mean, we had to start out with taking the grill out again and get some access so we could get the wires behind and start building the harness, because you had to build two separate harnesses because the lights do draw a bit of amperage. We mean, the two of them together probably draw about 20 amps or so, full tilt or whatever. And so we had to separate the two outers, the outer and the inners, and that's how it's going to run. So,
and then you did some sort of custom harnessing with both the ditch lights and the front lights. All of that is tied together with a bunch of different wiring. The ground, I mean, it's really boring to watch a video of somebody wiring stuff.
And long.
Yeah, and very, very long. This took 2 days worth of effort. Yeah. I think it's time to show the people what it really looks like. You want to hop in and do it? I'm going to give you the honors, man.
Yeah, no problem.
So there's the amber. I'm going to get down so you can see it better on the front end. Oh, that looks so cool. All right, check the next one. So there's the white, and you can see, obviously it's very sunny out right now when we finished up. The red is on. It's very tough to see that. All right, I'm going to back up. Let her rip, Tater Chip.
There's your ditch warning.
We got the flashers on. Yep. Oh my. And you can see as I move around, we've got the focus of the different LEDs. This thing puts out a boat. Oh my gosh. I made the mistake of looking at it. Dude, that's cool. You got to hop out here and check it out.
Yeah, you get pulled over.
It's a little bit of light.
At least you can compete with the new LED headlights on the road today now, though. So, you know.
I especially like how the center light just blocks out the Mercedes logo. Yes. I think that actually does look really nice.
Yes, it looks great. It looks awesome.
Let's check out the sPod inside, because that was a cool thing that we did. Yes. Okay, so inside, Pat took the time to set us up with the sPod Bantam X with the remote screen. And what did we do for install on this? This is kind of a slick install, right?
The RAM mount setup is buried deep down in the cubby and bolted in from the back side.
So you can see this here is part of the RAM mount system, and we actually mounted that to the back of the cubby, which is the same as this. It's just flat back there. It's hard to see.
But in order to do that, we had to pull the whole center section out and do a bunch of measuring, a little bit of trimming, a little bit of cutting, some drilling. And,
what was the technical term? The gazintas?
Yes, do our gazintas.
We had to do some gazintas to figure it all out, and we got it there. And then, of course, we have the switches all set up, the ditch, amber, and red. Those actually, so like the red is
full amber. You know,
the red is all the red and white.
You can just label the amber like DRL, daytime running light, or
Yeah, yeah. And all this stuff is customizable. This sPod's pretty slick, man.
Yeah, they give you a lot of functions. The list is, well, it's quite long and it's quite elaborate. I'd say read up on it if you really want to get into it.
Yeah, yeah. We're not
probably a bit too long for this video.
That's for damn sure.
I can't remember all of it.
So what's really cool is it's got a temperature readout of the system here, but also voltage readout, and you have individual voltage across each one. So I'll pop on the front lights.
I think that is amperage.
Or is it amperage?
I think it's showing your amp draw on it.
Okay, so
yeah. It should. I mean, that's what every time it gets up, like a 30 amp is the cutoff, so anytime it gets up around 30 amps, it'll cut off. That's
okay, so we've got the amperage readout, and thank you for correcting me on that.
No
that's good to know. Two different readouts. So these 5 and 6 are the full white for the front end, and you can see just how much power that's pulling. We were, kind of considering, can we
run 3 together?
Yeah, can we run 3? Can we run the bar separate? But really, looking at this, the answer is probably not, because it would likely push over.
Yeah, your outers are actually pulling, what is it,
21.
21. Yeah, so your second, that third light would put you over the limit.
Yeah, and it would trip the 30
right
amp.
at the limit where you'd end up having it, if it on a hot day or something, it's going to shut it down. It'll shut the circuit down, and then you're just like, damn, this sucks.
Yeah. So combination sPod, all the Strands lights so far on the front end. I'm really excited. Are you excited? We've been doing a lot of work together.
Yeah,
what do you think,
man?
It
was a pretty good haul. A lot of wiring, a lot of harness making. Do it correctly, it takes a bit of time. So
as far as I know, you are the first guy in the States to put these on a vehicle, especially on a Sprinter build. Was it any more difficult or less difficult than other brands?
Not really. I mean, it was pretty straightforward and simple. The mount up solution's a little easier because it already comes pre-assembled for you on the round lights up front. So that was just kind of, plug and play, really.
Yeah.
In regards to bolting it on. But
yeah, and then we took the time to make sure that we had the wiring done correctly and set up so that, we had full functionality of the lights. That was a big concern of mine. And we were able to pull that off with the combination of the sPod and some super duper trick wiring from the master electrician sitting right next to me.
That's no problem. I was glad to do it. I'm glad it worked out well.
You know what we need to do? We need to see what this looks like at night. What do you think?
Absolutely. I kind of want to see. You have to send some pictures at least, or off to just watch the video at the end.
Yeah, you might have to watch the video. All right, thanks, Pat.
Sure thing, man.